All right. Hi there. Welcome to the Power of Love and Connection podcast. I am looking forward to sharing with you tonight. Tonight's topic is going to be solo. Solo is not something that I prefer to do, but it's actually the perfect time. Tonight, we're talking about resetting and regrouping. It is January 30th. Tomorrow is January 31st. We are about to enter into a new month of 2024. It's hard to believe that 30 days have already passed, but we're here, right? So, Power of Love and Connection podcast. First of all, I want to thank each of you who have taken the time to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Also on Apple Podcasts. I finally checked the Apple Podcast analytics, and it's gaining some really good momentum. So thank you all. If you have not done so already, please go to YouTube, like, subscribe, Power of Love and Connection podcast. Please subscribe. There are 4 episodes up. Last week's episode was a really good one. It was advice to 20 and 30-year-old youth. We're going to do another episode, not a rebroadcast. We're going to do a second episode of that topic. It was so popular. I want to hear from some male friends, male counterparts about advice to 20-year-old you, and also females of different ages. I think that the question it's such a large question that we could talk about it several times. And if you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please send a message through either Facebook, YouTube, email, any way you can reach out to me and let me know that you're interested, what topic, and we'll schedule some time. So tonight's episode is not going to be extremely lengthy unless the conversation gets good. I'm completely open to extending it out. But we are going to talk about resetting and regrouping. We will be at February 1st in a couple of days. And this is leap year. That's really exciting. So we're almost at the end of the first month of this new year, 2024. And many of you, like me, have set some goals, had some, some desires for some things that you wanted to see in this new year. And I want to talk about strategies for staying on track or getting back on track. I'm going to share just 5 strategies, and I will take feedback from the audience. If you have strategies or you have goals and things that you want to talk about and share, include in the conversation, please do. Looking forward to hearing that as well. Once again, one more commercial before we jump into things. Please like and subscribe Power of Love and Connection podcast on Apple Podcast or on YouTube, especially on YouTube. I'm trying to build up some really good momentum. Thank you to everyone who has already done so. Hey girl, hey. My goal tonight is to make sure that I multitask and check the comments and also gain your feedback about tonight's topic, which is resetting and regrouping. Now that we're at January 30th, we're at the 30th day of this first, hey Dave, we're at the 30th day of this first new year, and we're talking about resetting, regrouping. Hey, nephew. Hey, Connie. I'm not supposed to be doing that, doing shout outs during the podcast. Anyway, so resetting, we're talking about resetting and regrouping, strategies to continue the momentum that you already have, or for restarting. If you dropped off during the new year, those first 30 days, we're going to talk about some strategies to help you get back on track. Number one, this is my number one. And regardless to what your faith belief system is, I think that prayer is where you start. For me, it is prayer and fasting. I am trying something new this year. I'm a person of faith anyway. a believer. And so I pray, I fast every once in a while. But for 2024, I'm setting a fasting day mid-month on the 15th and also at the end of the month. That's how serious and committed I am to the goals that I have. I'm going to share I have 12 goals this first part of the year. And I have dates, things by them. I've already accomplished many of them, but mine start off with prayer. I start thinking about them, prior to the end of the year, and really allow that time to kind of guide me into what the new year is going to look like. So for me, I'm not just starting on January 1 with some of these things. I am taking an inventory, trying to understand where I am, where I want to go, releasing some things, collecting some other things, and really building myself up to be successful when the new year starts. I'm a big time person. So I love New Year time. I love birthday time. I love seasons and times and things like that. They get me inspired. I love starting on time and ending on time. I love classes and sessions and goals. So all of that stuff motivates me. So for this year, I will share. So prayer, number one, strategies for getting back on track is prayer and fasting. If you're into that, what it does, it brings everything under subjection. I'll put it that way. That's a simple way to put it. It prioritizes the main things, and the things that are less significant, they fall off. When I pray, I get answers. And so it's a regular part of my everyday throughout the day. So that's number one. Before I get into the others, I want to share some of my goals with you, just to kind of see, let you know where I am. But I also want to hear from you. Like, share one goal for this year that you started out with and you're sticking to, or that you're not doing so good at. Let me share mine. I'm reading my little vision board, big sticky note. So, and I'm super excited because I've accomplished some of these already. Number one is to start a podcast. Yay. So I didn't say start a successful podcast. I didn't say have a podcast for the whole year. My goal was to start a podcast. So if at any point beyond this moment I stop, I'm good, because my goal was simply to start a podcast. I will tell you, this is one of the most challenging things I've ever done. First of all, the technical aspects of podcast work, it's a lot. And it takes a certain mindset. So until I commit to doing more than I'm already doing, you won't see certain things from my podcast content. I actually need a content producer to help me really promote and use some of the tools that I have to be able to really build up the podcast. So that's my number one. My number two was to start a YouTube channel. Done, check. I wish I had a check sound. But my number two was to start a YouTube channel. I did that as a part of the podcast. And so it's growing, it's gaining momentum. I really love analytics, data. Part of the work that I do every day is data tied to fundraising. And so the analytics on YouTube and also the analytics on Apple Podcasts are absolutely incredible. I'm going to share a couple more, and then I'm going to go to number two. So let me take a quick break. Power of Love and Connection podcast. Please subscribe on YouTube. Please subscribe on YouTube. Power of Love and Connection podcast. I also want to go into the comments and read one. One goal someone has for the year. I won't mention any names, but if you're on the live and you're looking at the comments, you know who this is. So, one of my dear friends' goals is to stop cussing. Good luck. No, seriously, you can accomplish that. I've noticed something about myself being in South Florida. I was never really a cusser. It just didn't come out that way. But I've started saying cuss words in my head more than ever before. Um, and so Shantae, let me see. Oops, I said your name. I didn't mean to say your name. uh, let's see. The person who said their goal is to stop cussing said, I have been cuss free for 3 weeks. I am so glad you said that because it takes us to number two, strategies for staying and getting back on track with your goals. My number two, Shantae, was what you just did. She said I could say her name, you guys. Number two is to celebrate any progress that you've made. And so I think for me, that's something new for me this year. Prior to this year, I really didn't celebrate the baby steps of goals, the progress along the way of goals. I would always try to hit the goal and then feel so bad because I failed. You know, I stopped working out, I stopped doing something. But this year, I decided to celebrate the progress I've made along the way. And so, yes, it is awesome. And so what that has meant for me, it's been really inspiring, guys. I'm not going to be able to give you the full understanding of how inspiring it is, but I've been setting baby goals for these bigger goals and celebrating every little step. So when I created the YouTube channel, I celebrated that. When I came up with the backdrop for the podcast, I celebrated that. So it's made the journey powerful, exciting versus waiting until I actually accomplish the goal more exciting. And so number one is set aside time to pray about your goals. Like if you didn't do it at the beginning of the year and you're struggling, pray. Ask God or whoever you believe to help you, really regroup and get those goals back on track. And fast. If you are someone who believes in the power of fasting and prayer, dynamic duo, put them together and really bring everything under subjection and watch. I'm just going to tell you, watch the amazing power that happens from that. Number two is celebrate any success that you've made along the way. Um, I've shared a couple. What's my number three? Number three is 10 new Ask Allie consulting clients just in the year, just this year. And so the reason is because I have a whole full-time job. I have I stay busy. I like to stay busy, especially being in South Florida, without strong social connections and family yet. But just 10 new clients because I don't yet plan to only do Ask Allie Consulting. I want to do that and full-time work. So I started off the year with three. So I'm celebrating big time. And my goal is only 10. That's not a lot. I didn't even say my goal was one a month or one every two. It was this year. Lord, bring me 10 new clients this year. I didn't even ask for what size clients, what kind of contracts, or anything like that. 10 new clients this year. That's as specific as I want it to be. I'm going to share one that I'm not doing so good at just to balance it out. My number four is a 30-minute walk daily. I love walking, and here it's sunny all year long, even today. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about the weather for my Midwest people. No shade, literally no shade. But walking 30 minutes a day, not as my exercise, but as a way to just embrace and reconnect with nature and bring some perspective to whatever part of the day that I decide to walk. I haven't done that faithfully, but I have added in back with personal training. I love cycling. I've also been doing like some total body conditioning, and I feel like I found my fitness tribe at the YMCA of South Florida. I've been looking for a training place for a little while and finally feel like I found it. So I've been I've been doing, I'm laughing at Anthony's comment that says a shade tree. Absolutely a shade tree. So even though I haven't accomplished that goal, I'm working towards it and adding in other things. For those of you who are just joining, thank you so much. This is a live recording of the Power of Love and Connection podcast. Tonight's episode is tied to the fact that it's the 30th of the month, also almost the end of this first month of the year. And we're talking about resetting and regrouping strategies for continuing or getting back on track with your goals. And I shared a couple. If you are just joining and you have not done it, also please go over to YouTube and like and subscribe to my new podcast, which is one of my goals, Power of Love and Connection podcast. I would love to hear from you. Also, if you are interested in being a guest on any of the episodes, please let me know. Tonight is my first solo night. And so every once or twice a month, we're going to go live with a topic that's, relevant to everybody. So one is set aside time to pray and fast if you do that. Two is celebrate any progress that you've made along the way. Three is revise your goals. Guys, if that stuff is not working for you from January 1 until now, change it. Change it, and make it work for you. So my 30-minute walk daily is not working just because of logistics and timing. Sometimes when I want to walk outside. That's a walk outside goal. Sometimes when I get home, even though I've worked out, gone to work and done some other things, it's too dark to be outside walking. And so I'm going to revise that goal to maybe I'm thinking about a 30-minute walk 5 days a week or 3 days a week, something that I know is still a reach, but attainable. Okay. So number three is if those goals aren't working, revise them. Number four, find something or someone to hold you accountable. Accountability, not just partners, but accountability pieces are really relevant. And you would be amazed at how just having someone or something to hold you accountable. Earlier, I shared that I love sessions and classes and deadlines. Like if you tell me we got to do this from 5 to 6, I'm gonna hustle to get it done between 5 and 6. As much as cycling challenges me, not because I have bad knees. People keep asking me about knees because I'm over 50. My knees are in excellent condition. My knees and my hips are fine. But with cycling, it's extremely challenging to me. But the class is from 6:30 until 7:15. 6:30 to 7:15. So I don't care how bad I want to quit because I'm a person that likes the accountability of the clock. I keep going until 7:15. Like after 7:15, if I want to quit, I stop cycling. But that's what holds me accountable. Find you a person to hold you accountable. I love doing that kind of stuff, but because I'm so rigid with it, I guess, it's not fun when I hold other people accountable because I'll do it. If you say you need to, I would like for you to call me every day at this time so we can do this. I'm gonna call you every day at that time. Then I'm also going to be a little bothered because you're not doing it and I'm the one holding you accountable. So I might not be the best accountability partner unless you really want to change and see some movement in your life. Those of you who are just joining, thank you very much. You are tuning in to the Power of Love and Connection podcast live recording. Please go over to YouTube right now. Get off of the live or multitask and go right now to YouTube and subscribe to my podcast channel, Power of Love and Connection podcast. Also on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe, like Power of Love and Connection. Tonight, we're talking about resetting and regrouping, strategies for staying back on track. We're on number 5, okay? I'm only sharing 5 tonight, and then I'm going to take a few comments from the chat, and that'll be it. So number 5 is share your goals with someone. If you really want to get some feedback or some recommendations for how to accomplish your goal, share it with someone. It doesn't have necessarily have to be a friend. It could be a colleague, a coworker. Share it on Facebook and allow people to express their opinion about it. But do that to just get some perspective. I'm going to call it perspective. Doesn't mean everybody is going to like the goal. It doesn't mean everyone is going to agree or understand what you're doing, but it gives you some perspective about it. So those are my 5. Those are my 5 strategies for staying or getting back on track. We are almost at the end of this month. The next month, February, will be here before you know it. And if you need a reset and a regroup, those are the 5 strategies. I'll go over them one more time. Set aside time to pray. And if you fast, fast. Celebrate any progress that you've made. Revise your goals to make them a little bit more attainable. Find something or someone to hold you accountable. And share your goals with someone. I'm going to take some questions from the chat. If you have questions or thoughts, please do it now. Hey, nephew says, can you share your why for the goals that you set this year? Why were they important? Ooh, that's such a good question. So I actually was going to add a little bit more to tonight's episode, and I changed my mind. So my why, I'll start with whys are behind everything I do. Everything I do is very strategic. Why did I want to start a podcast? So I might cry when I share this. I feel it coming. I feel it coming. So my reason for wanting to start a podcast, it is, yeah, I might not be able to answer it all the way, because you know how you can feel tears and stuff rising up. So one of the reasons is that I love to talk. Not many people would say that about me. There are a few people who know that about me, but I haven't always been in environments where that freedom to talk has been there for me. This has nothing to do with anybody else, but the freedom for me to be comfortable talking. And so this is how I talk with my friends. Like it's rambly, but this is who I am. And I started this podcast because I wanted to release me to whoever. And so in the very first episode, I said, this is going to be weird for some people, like hearing me talk all the time as much as I have been, but this is who I truly am. And whether I've hidden that from people or people have hidden me from that, it really doesn't matter. In this year, before this year, last year, sometime, I started mid-year telling God, like, Lord, I need some people to talk to. Now, I was in South Florida I still don't have strong social connections, but I'm building them. I don't have family here. I have a few connections here, but not anything substantial. And so I started, like, I was talking to God, like, Lord, I need a release. I need a release, because when I would travel with my friends, I would overwhelm them with talking, because I haven't talked. So for me, this podcast is releasing me, the freedom that I feel, talking about everything. Like, I'm talking about all the stuff that I've always wanted to talk about with people. And so that's my why for the podcast. I held my tears back. I'm really proud of myself. But that's such an excellent question. Um, one of the reasons I'm a writer, I have journals from my goodness, 5, 6 years old, and I keep them. I've kept them, and I love to write. I have books. I have 6 books in my like on my computer, finished, haven't published, and that's because writing has been my outlet. I'm an excellent writer, gifted writer. One of the one of the every career path, writing has been some aspect of it, but it really is to release me, who I am. And for 50 brought that on too. We talked about advice to 20 and 30-year-old you last week. Those age, what do you call them? Evolutions bring about changes that are just innate and organic. And so literally when I woke up at 50, felt different. And I can't explain it, but I did. And so 50, I'm 52. I'm not 50, but unapologetic, unbothered, still kind, still loving, still all of everything I was, but I'm different. And I want to release me. I'm really, this is getting long-winded. I'm gonna cut it off in just a sec. One of the things that I have a heightened awareness of is death. And meaning that at any moment, our number could be up and we have no clue when that time will be. And what I don't want to happen is to leave this earth and not um have had the opportunity to release everything that God has placed in me. And that's a lot. Like he really has placed a lot in me, and I want to release all of it in the earth. So that's my why for number one. Imagine if I went through my whole list. So I have 12 things on my goal list this year. Those of you who are just joining, thank you. This is Power of Love and Connection podcast. Please take a moment right now to go over to YouTube, like and subscribe to the Power of Love and Connections. Check out some of the episodes and leave your feedback. Tonight, we're talking about resetting and regrouping strategies for staying or getting back on track. And I was sharing my why. My nephew asked me, what's my why for some of my goals? I'm going to share the last half of my goal. I'll start from the bottom. I have 12. 12 is really exciting to me because that's a newer goal, and already it's happened in a great way. So 12 is make 5 new destiny partnerships or relationships. And I have 2 in January, 2 already in January. What's a destiny partnership and relationship? That is someone that was divinely sent to you. You know they were divinely sent to you. And I have 2 people in January that fit into that category. I know they were divine. The overflow of conversation and interaction, the authenticity that existed, and these are people that I've never interacted with, and I knew they were destiny partners. 11 is travel. I travel all the time anyway. I didn't travel a lot last year. I'm still getting acclimated to South Florida, but I have a few places on my list this year. Aruba, a Disney cruise, Marco Island, and Austin, Texas. Not a fascinating list, but I have reasons for wanting to go. To write, I have a goal to write and release a new devotional called Everything is New by March 31st. Find a church home, lose only 10 pounds by 228. That's nothing. I think I've already lost it. So anyway, fast 2 days a month, launch a travel biz. That's struggling a little bit. Read 2 books a month, and I already shared the other ones. Let me see. That's it. That's all. Those are my goals. Any other feedback? Thank you for that question about the why. That was really I was really inspired by that. My Cousin Net said, really enjoying getting to know who you are. Thank you. One of the reasons I love social media is because it has allowed us to connect with people, our family, friends everywhere, in a way that wasn't possible prior to that. So, hey, I see my niece Mia. Um, yes to finding your voice. That's Tia, Tia, Tia. Let me see. Share your why. I'm scrolling to the comments. Shantae said it was 40 today and she didn't wear a coat. Yay, no coat. Yay, no coat. You saw, this is what I had on today. No sleeves. My muscles are growing. So now I'm wearing sleeveless tops to work every day. Um, okay. Any other comments? I am about to hop off. This was so much fun. Um, Please like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, Power of Love and Connection. If you are someone who wants to have a conversation about anything, I'm so serious about anything. Please reach out. The information is in the comments. I think it's in the comments. You can send an email to powerofloveandconnection@gmail.com. You can send an email to through Facebook or whatever, platform you happen to hear this on. Any other questions in the comments? Anybody else before we head off? Let me see. Let me see. I'm gonna have to edit this because I'm taking. Hey Connie. So you guys, I don't know if Connie is still on, but Connie is one of my co-hosts, and Connie is actually starting her own podcast. February 14th, it launches, right, Connie? But it's gonna be called Stilettos. Connie, what is the name of your podcast? Are you still here? Stilettos in a room full of flats, something like that. But I'll share more once Connie gets all of the information together. Okay, everyone. It has been such a tremendous pleasure chatting with you tonight. I'm going to hop off live, but one last shout out. Please like, subscribe, Power of Love and Connection podcast. This episode is going to be live on YouTube, also on Apple Podcasts with a few edits here and there. But thank you all and look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great night.